Hare Krishna. Omagyanam Timirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Hare Krishna. So let us discuss. Today there is no class of Prabhuji, so we'll have directly Prabhupada purport discussion. So if somebody is not knowing it, this is today we have only Prabhupada purport discussion. So we were discussing, we'll just recite this one prayer and then I will talk about different types of prayers and then we will go further, because before before reading the prayers, we'll try to know what is prayers and all. Kunti vacha namaste purusham tvadyam ishwaram prakrite param alaksham sarvabhutanam antarbahiravastitam. So here Srimati Kunti said, "O Krishna, I offer my obeisances unto you because you are the original personality and are unaffected by their unaffected by the qualities of material world. You are existing both within and without everything, yet you are invisible to all." So this is the first prayer. But before we go, yesterday, because of some technical reasons, we could not continue. I wanted to share few points here. So I'll just revise what we discussed and then I'll continue. So we were discussing yesterday that when one faced with difficulties, tragic situations in life, one is faced with a question that is why it is all happening. Now, if it is said that if a man is able to overcome the completely impossible difficulties, if he knows the reason why, if it makes sense, then it is possible for him, he will gain all the strength to overcome the difficulties. But if he does not know why things are happening, then it becomes very difficult. Even person cannot endeavor the difficulties, and even a small thing also, he will not have any patience. So that is the reason we need to know why. But theoretically, we know that ultimately the answer for always because Krishna wanted in that way. That means I should gratefully accept it. It is theory. One thing is theory, but another thing is practical. Because life always poses such situations for all of us, and testing our willingness to accept a higher will. And sometimes it happens that some events after uh, uh, some event happen to the whole nation or a big part of a place, then everybody has the same question. But everyone still have to find the answers for themselves only. This is the point. And we have discussed that how Queen Kunti, she also underwent so much trials. Great war ended and she lost her elder son Karna, and in the last day the uh, her grandchildren are slaughtered, viciously slaughtered, and of course her sons are miraculously saved. But she lost all her nephews, all her relatives are killed. But Kunti, she saw that the cause of everything that is happening is because of Krishna only. She could understand, and she says that i'm I cannot understand what's going on because it is impossible to understand your intentions, she says. And yet, because the incomprehensible, she tried to comprehend the incomprehensible Lord with her prayers, because she gratefully accepted his will. Now the only choice a person has is to reject God's will or accept it. But not just accepting what is happening, but gradually accepting with joy, with an understanding that all good Lord who wishes well for us and is behind all these things. This is the most important. We did not we have a choice not to accept him because we have that freedom. We can reject and curse Krishna, but we can sincerely try to understand God's will. That is much better, and become grateful to it. We can be like Gandhari, who cursed Krishna, or like Kunti, who expressed her gratitude. The same thing. So here, Kunti is either love or anger. Now, Sudha Goswami is presenting Queen Kunti's prayers, where she tells how she understands Krishna. Not only that, how much trust he has and accepts his will all over her life. So this is Kunti Marani. Now in Srimad Bhagavatam also there are so many prayers that are given, so many prayers that are recited in Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is our primary praman. We discussed this also, just a revision. The unadulterated testimony of truth for us, and it's a guide to action also. This is how we have to perform things in our life. Now Bhagavatam is mostly collection of prayers of devotees. In almost every chapter and in every canto we have all these things. Now someone prays to Krishna or praises him. Now sometimes the prayers are stretching so much. Now if person who is not grown up in the culture of prayers, reading the prayers, it is sometimes very difficult. Of course in India people recite so many, they go to temple, they have so many prayers to recite, and from childhood also they have learned many prayers. But then, but otherwise what happens, it looks like unwildly or speculative or overly pompous, because what is, people want more dynamics, Mahabharata, Ramayana. So what happens is this prayer slow down the development of the story. So that's how we feel. But here we have to understand that uh, because people feel it is superfluous, but we have to understand the underlining meaning of all these prayers, and we have to immerse ourselves in these prayers in a prayerful mode. Now the question is, why there are so many prayers in Bhagavad? Now there are so many prayers. The answer uh, is very simple, because Vyasdev told to Narada Muni told to Vyasdev. He says that write a book in which the glories of Supreme Lord will be central theme. So Dashamasya Vishuddhanam Navana Mihalakshanam Varnayanti Mahatmanam Shrutena Arthin. Shrutena is prayers. Directly describe his greatness, his qualities, and his leelas. This is why. Now, another point we discussed is everybody sees the absolute truth in different angles. Each devotee sees it in his own way. And in their prayers, these Vaishnavas, they are actually glorifying Srimad Bhagavatam. And they have direct experience of God. It's not like mm, mm, what people experience here now. Because generally now for people like me, our spiritual experience is very limited, and we may feel for a moment God is here in my heart, but after that we feel, oh, we get a doubt whether it is real or I'm imagining or like that. So doubts will arise. But whether I have imagined or, but sometimes what a repetition of mantra, people may feel some ecstasy, but most of the time it does not happen. So, by immersing ourselves in prayers of Bhagavatam, we can feel more really easily and penetrate and see the how the Lord, the prayers are happening. Now, when Narada Muni is telling to Vyasdev that you have to write Srimad Bhagavatam, and he called Krishna as Maha Anubhava. Anubhava means experience. He wants us to the great experience. When one comes in direct contact with Krishna, one has a wonderful experience. And with this understanding of who is Krishna and what his qualities are and how he manifests in their life. So therefore, when they recite prayers also, one should remember that they describe the real spiritual experience of great devotees. It's not just some poetic, okay, some people, okay, I'll imagine about Lord and write something. It's not. They have directly experienced it and they are speaking about it. That's why the meaning of Srimad Bhagavatam prayers will gradually open up when this is another important. So we have to we join their experience. That's why we also get that experience. That is one of the point. And another thing is all Bhagavatam prayers are beautiful in their own way because they glorify the highest truth. This is that's why we have to learn as many prayers as possible. And also we have to learn how to pray. So now another important point we discuss is rarely people do praise in this world, but and even if they pray, they're almost an element of artificiality or manipulation or flattery. And but Bhagavatam, Krishna forbids also. You should not condemn or you should not praise. This is from Bhagavatam 11th canto 28th chapter we discuss. Praise of conditioned living being is inappropriate because everything we have we owe to others, either to Krishna or spiritual master, father, mother, people around us, writers, or all these things. We are influenced by many things in our life. So, strictly speaking, all our merits are not ours. Therefore, any glorification of us is actually false only. Because of all the beings in the world, Krishna is Swarat. He is only totally independent. It does not depend. And also another thing, the only one who is independent of anyone is Krishna only. Therefore he should be praised. Acharya explains that even when some demon is cursing Krishna, is actually praising him. So this is another thing. Now one important point we have to hear, just any praise of God is true, any praise of conditioned living being is false. Now what happens is all these social media or any other entertainment industry and all, there are so many praises people are called in reality shows and all. But here it is clearly told why people are seeing reality. They want to see others are getting praised and all. But here Bhagavatam clearly says praise of God is Krishna is true, any praise of condition because all the qualities that somehow attract us in other people or in ourselves are reflection of the original qualities of Krishna. Yadyad vibhutimat sattvam srimadurjatameva tattateva gachatam mama teja amsha sambhavam. It's all actually Krishna's only. This is, we should be very clear. That means uh, we have to praise, that's why spiritual qualities we have to praise. Through you are doing very sincere sadhana, you are doing nice service, you are trying to, you are reading very nicely. These are actually the real praise because that living entity is trying to go towards Krishna. Any other praises which are not connected to Krishna, then it's all false, because all the qualities anybody has, somebody is a good singer, dancer, or is good actor, or he's a rich person, or he is very kind, or even somebody is very generous and he's very philanthropist and all these things, it's all Krishna, coming from Krishna. And so in the prayers that are in the Bhagavatam, the prayers are coming from the lips of devotee, describe in detail this infinitely beautiful manifested nature of absolute truth. That's why. Now, this is first point we will discuss here today, the courage to pray. And then 3 types of prayers, that will be our topic of discussion today. And because these are going to help us whole Bhagavatam, that's why I'm trying to take so much time on this. And this is not my realization. These are from Bhakti Vigyan Maharaj his lectures. From there I'm taking it, and giving a disclamation before only. Don't think it's my realization. It is Mara's things. I'm just repeating some of the things, but it is very helpful. So I thought I'll share with you, because whole Bhagavatam we have so many prayers. It will help us to meditate and understand. But it's a very very important understanding. And now the prayers of devotees are not limited to praising Krishna only. They also contain some request and some request in return, and reflects the relationship one has with Lord, and degree of the closeness they have and trust in Him. So all these things. First is they are praising. Second, they have some request, and it reflects their relationship with Him and their degree of closeness and trust in Him. All these things. So 5 different aspects. And Kunti's prayer from Srimad Bhagavatam occupies special place, even among the list of other prayers. We have Gajendra's prayers, Prahlad prayers, Bhishma's prayers, and Gopi's prayers, and then we have Brahma, and then we have so many other Aila Gita, and we have Rudra Gita, and so many other prayers are there. But Kunti's prayers are very special. Why it is special? Because she asked something which nobody asked. She turns to Krishna and says, "Send me danger." And now, one by one, let them come in my head. And now, let difficulties come, trials come, because they are helping me to remember you and feel the presence of you. Now, everybody knows this prayer of Queen Kunti. Vipada Santutashashas Tatra Tatra Jagadguru Bhodo Darshanam Nisyad Apunar Bhodarshanam. Now, who in a proper state of mind will ask difficulties from God? And they are afraid, what if Krishna hears these prayers and if he answers my prayers of difficulties? And many people, they avoid this prayer also. They are afraid to be like this. But even if you don't pray, they are going to get anyway. So, but here, what difficulties anyway going to come? But Kunti Maharani, her prayer, what is that means? Kunti has put into it a sense of deepest trust in Krishna. This is actually her point. She has so much trust, so that and she is especially asking Krishna to grant. So this, now when we are praying, we have to understand that we are also asking Krishna to have that we should also put the same trust in Him. So whether pray or not, any difficulties come, but the trust in Krishna is very important. She knows whatever Krishna is going to do, it for me is good only. So let Krishna be problems, no problem. And because send me difficulties that are not due to karma, but He can give us the strength to overcome the difficulties. So this prayer helps us to see behind the misfortune in our lives and the mercy of Krishna and accept it with gratitude. So we can see that behind this misfortune also there is mercy of Krishna and we become grateful. Now, otherwise what happens? Krishna's mercy will pass by and we will be left with only misfortune, because we have not, and it will only harden the heart if we are not grateful, if we are not able to see that. Now, this is one part. Another important is people ask God for well-being and they pray to Krishna asking for deliverance from the hardships, and then they, but what happens is that they lose, it does not happen, then they lose faith on God. They say that when I needed it, He did not answer my prayers. No, I don't, and He did not hear me. Now, but here, point of Kunti's prayer is to help us understand why Krishna sends adversities. This is very important. Please try to understand. If understand this, we'll stop frivolously seeking for only happiness in life and praising Krishna only for giving happiness. No. Because if a person is asking God only for happiness, it's like a child is asking, Father, give me sweets all the time. But excessive sweets, it will spoil the digestion. So living too easily without hardships prevents us from learning all its lessons, and which turns into our wisdom. This is actually the problem. So when Kunti Maharani is praying, first is she is showing her trust. Second point is, when we are going through hardships, it will help us learn lessons. Only just happiness is like it is like sweetness. So, and by this, person can be truly happy who has not embraced the wisdom of the creator who created this complex world. So if we want to be happy, we have to go through some hardships. Now, the another important point is that by reciting the prayers of great devotees, the Bhagavatam teaches us how to pray properly. That is, how we should act in our relationship with Lord, with the moral obligations, our understanding of His nature imposes on us. So, this is second point. Like we have to learn the. It should teach us the process. It should teach us what we should ask Krishna, and thus gives us the understanding of Abhideya. So first is we are trying to give ourselves, and second is putting trust on Him. Third is like we are trying to understand what to ask from the Lord. Now the third reason what it teaches us we should pray to God is the we should pray to Krishna. What we should, how we should pray. So Bhakti Yoga is a path of spiritual emotions, which culminates in all, mm, which culminates in love. And prayers actually is a way to express our emotions. Prayer also means Vandanam, right? So one of the methods of Navavida Bhakti is Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Achanam, Asyam Sakyam. So here in that Vandanam is one of the 9 limbs of devotional service. Now, this is even Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam. So, actually, it is not very easy to pray. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu thought that one can understand the meaning of Srimad Bhagavatam. This is very important. One can understand the Srimad Bhagavatam only by studying under the guidance of an experienced Vaishnava who is capable of experiencing the spiritual emotions. So, Vata Bhagavatam Rasamalayam Muhuraho Rasika Bhuibhavuka. And Bhagavata Padya Bhagavata Sthani. This is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says. So, even if we just read prayers of great devotees with our heart and not with our heads, we can feel to some extent the emotions of love for Krishna. We should not do with our head, it's our heart. Now, what is the problem is, actually the important thing is heart is like a mirror. And if it is pure enough, the feelings that the great devotees put into their prayers can also reflect in our heart, because heart is like a mirror. Cheto darpana marjanam. Darpana means it's a mirror. We have to clean it and plant it in the. So what happens is, when we hear the prayers, we also get the same type of desire, a desire to love Krishna as they are doing, like that. In that way, prayers of Srimad Bhagavatam impart to us the knowledge of Prayojana Tattva. Now, few more points before. Hope it is helping all of you. I will just what we'll do, because we should complete some syllabus. I'll take this purport. This shloka is also very important. I'll just take this purport and I'll continue our discussion. Srimati Kunti Devi was quite aware that Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, although he was playing the part of her nephew. Such an enlightened lady could not commit a mistake by offering obeisances unto her nephew. Therefore, she addressed him as the original Purusha beyond the material cosmos. Although all living entities are also transcendental, They are neither original nor infallible. The living entities are apt to fall down under the clutches of material nature, but the Lord is never like that. In the Vedas, therefore, he is described as chief among all living entities. Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam. Kathopanishad 2.2.13. Then again, he is addressed as Ishvara or the controller. The living entities are the demigods like Indra, Chandra, and Surya, are also to some extent Ishwaras, but none of them is the supreme Ishvara or the ultimate controller. He is the Parameshwara or the super soul. He is both within and without. Although he was present before Srimati Kunti as her nephew, he was also within her and everyone else. In the Bhagavad Gita 5.15, the Lord says, I am situated in everyone's heart, and only due to me one remembers, forgets, and is cognizant, etc. Though all the Vedas I am to be known because I am the compiler of the Vedas and I am the teacher of the Vedanta, Queen Kunti affirms that the Lord, although both within and without all living beings, is still invisible. The Lord is, so to speak, a puzzle for the common man. Queen Kunti experienced personally that Lord Krishna was present before her, yet he entered within the womb of Uttara to save her embryo from the attack of Ashwatthama's Brahmastra. Kunti herself was puzzled about whether Sri Krishna is all pervasive or localized. In fact, he is both, but he reserves the right of not being exposed to the to person for not surrendered souls. This checking caution is called the Maya energy of the Supreme Lord, and it controls the limited vision of the rebellious souls. It is explained as follows. So now, when Kunti uh, is actually praying like this, so uh, she is actually Krishna actually asks certain questions. So we will just try to. This is from the uh, commentaries of Acharyas. We get some things, and of course, I didn't read what Vishnu Chakra Thakur wrote. This is some of the commentaries, but it is very helpful to understand what exactly Kunti Maharani is trying to tell her. So here the point is Krishna is trying to, Prabhupada is trying to explain one important thing is that we cannot understand Lord because he is inconceivable. He is antar bahiravastitam. So this is the first important aspect. So he has a right to show him or hide himself. This is another important point that is explained. So his Ishvara is a supreme controller. Now we will and also there are some important uh, lessons. Of course, when we will come back to the uh, three types of prayer just after completing this one shloka, because we have to do something, some justice to purports also. We have to cover before we go. Maybe two shlokas will cover the purports, and again I'll come back to the prayers. It will be very helpful. You can try to understand some of the points why prayers are given in Bhagavatam. Now here Yeah, so what we discussed previously is the chastity gives fearlessness. So, and there is inconceivable power of Krishna who is acting, doing all these things and helping the living entities. So, here we have seen how Kunti Maharani is very chaste, and Prabhupada praises her that she is the most intelligent lady also. Now, after going through so much, Kunti Maharani is offering such wonderful prayers, and she gives the definition of God in this first shloka. Now, Krishna is accustomed to address Kunti as elder, asking her blessings, and used to accept her motherly love. Suddenly, Kunti begins her speech with the word Namaste. I bow down to you. So, in Vedic social etiquette, it is very strictly observed that no elder should not bow to the younger ones. A mother may not bow to her son, otherwise, the relationship would be disturbed, and awkwardness would arise due to an incompatible combination of rasas. This is called rasabas. Now, in this case, however, there was no rasabas because sometimes devotees are affected by Aishwarya Jnana that comes to the surface of Kunti's consciousness. Temporarily, it happens. Kunti Aishwarya overcomes Madhurya and obscures her motherly rasa. She has motherly feeling for that rasa with Krishna. And what happens is then rasa will reduce motherly and only tattva remains, the eternal reality. Then she says, you are God. I am tiny soul in need of your protection. So this type of feeling comes. Now here, when the word namaste comes, so when Krishna hears, he feels uneasy. Why she is offering obeisances to me? So when Devaki and Vasudeva also, when Krishna kills Kamsana, they also feels the same thing. No? After long separation, then suddenly they prayerfully fold their hands before Krishna and Balram. Tears come from Krishna's eyes, and he says, "What is this?" So, uh, and he begins, and they began to ask. Then Krishna actually asked forgiveness. Please forgive me, I am your son. But all this time I have not fulfilled my duties. Now, however, Krishna only, now in this case, Krishna raised the eyebrows. He says, how you are for Kuntiman? He says, how you are telling Namaste? Uh, it is as if you are asking her a, he is just raising her brows. Without speaking, is asking questions. Why are you suddenly bowing to me? And she answers, because Namaste Purusham. I bow down to you because you are the Purusha. So you are the supreme enjoyer. So Krishna says, but Purusha also means man. I agree, I am a man, I am Purusha. This is not at a reason to bow down to me. Then she says, no, 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 no. You are not just Purusha, not an ordinary Purusha. You are Adyam Purusha. You are the original Purusha. Then he says, all right, I am the original, but we are all original, right? There is no birth or death for the soul also. The soul never comes into existence. It is primordial, and this too is not a reason to bow down to me. Then Kunti says, you are Ishvara, you are God. Krishna says, but Brahma is also Ishvara, Indra is also Ishvara. The kings in this world are also called Ishvaras. Yes, I am also king, I am also Ishvara, but do you, for that you need not bow down to me, right? Kunti says, no, no, no. You are not an ordinary Ishvara. You are an Ishvara who is beyond material nature. So, Namaste Purusham Tvadyam Ishwaram Prakrite Param. You are Prakrite Param. Krishna rises. He says, he gets more amazed. He says, do you mean I am Paramatma? The Purusha who is in the heart of all living entities? She says, no, 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 no. You are not Paramatma. You are Alaksha. So Alaksha purpose is invisible. Alaksha also means one who cannot be recognized, who is invisible to our sight. So Paramatma can be recognized and felt in the heart. When yogis, no, they meditate, they can feel. So yogis see Paramatma. So Kunti says, no, you are not Paramatma. You are Alaksha. You cannot be recognized. Krishna says, oh, I am Alaksha. So you want to say that I am impersonal or all-pervading Brahman then? Then, but how can that be if I am right in front of you? You are able to see me. Then how can I be Brahman, impersonal Brahman? Kunti replies, no, no, no. You are not impersonal Brahman. You are antar bahir avastitam. You are inside and outside also. You are right in front of me, and at the same time, you are inside all things. You have protected my sons outside, at the same time, invisible to none. You have entered the womb of Uttara and protected. So, in this way, Kunti Maharani address, she finally arrives to the most comprehensive definition of Aishwarya, the Lord's omnipotence. So, this sloka is actually the most comprehensive definition of Aishwarya of Lord. Namaste Purusham Padyam Ishwaram Prakritiparam Alaksham Sarvabhutanam Antarbahiravastitam. So, Krishna himself says this in Gita. Matstani Sarvabhutani Nachaham Teshavasti. Nachamastani Bhutani Pashyame Yugash. He says, all beings reside in me, but I am not in them. At the same time, all created beings are outside me. Behold my mystic opulence. So this is what Kunti is also saying. So Supreme Lord is above all things. So all qualities, even the incomprehensible ones, are in him. So this is one of the main distinguishing qualities of Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead, that he. So Lord also gives his qualities to other living entities. But the ability to combine the incomprehensible and to reconcile the inconceivable is unique to him. So that nobody can do. So Krishna is in front of Kunti Maharani and she sees him. At the same time, she knows that he resides in the heart of every living being and in every atom, according to the laws of logic. He who is everywhere cannot be at one place. That means either cannot have a specific form because he is omnipresence. So the localized cannot be omnipresent, and omnipresence cannot be localized. But Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead, has both. That means if I am here, I am not there in Mumbai. If I am Mumbai, if I am there in Mumbai and here, that means I cannot have a form because it is two order. But Lord is not like that. He can have a form and he can be at all places also. So this is actually the power of Lord. So he can be born and yet remain unborn. That is how Lord is. He is limited and limitless. He can be greatest and smallest, infinitely merciful. At the same time, allow evil and suffering exist in the world. This is important. He is very merciful, but he can also allow evil and suffering exist in this world and remain all powerful and be defeated by his friends. He is powerful, but he. So these are all logically incomprehensible qualities of Lord. So their presence in God means that he cannot be understood by logic and reason. That's how. Achintya kalve bhava na tarkesha yojayate. So ordinary logic does not apply to the incomprehensible phenomena. So we cannot understand him if we love him. Sorry, we can understand only if we love him, because love, like God himself, reconciles all contradictions. So now there are so many people, foolish people, they are trying to deny the existence of God by catching him at a logical contradiction. See, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. He's saying he is like this, he is like this. But God cannot get entangled in the net of their primitive logic. With logic, you can never understand. So they give argument. Can the Lord can create a stone which he cannot lift? Prabhupada said yes, he can create, and after that he lifts. So that, but here what is important is they don't understand that God is by definition logically inconsistent. So logic operates on the law of this living entities, is law of excluded third. But God includes everything. So the logic don't operate on. Logic operates on cause and effect, but God is beyond the cause and effect. Logic applies only to finite phenomena. but which is material world. But God is infinite. Like so, that's why antar bahiravastitam. So everything is within and without is inconceivable. Alaksham sarvabhutana. And also everything is within the Lord's control. Like Kunti Maharani says that you have used your dress playfully, and you have protected my sons, and you also entered into the womb of Putra and protected her fetus. So this is how Krishna is explained in this shloka. Now we'll just take few more points on the prayers again, where this is again described. We'll take one shloka and then we'll continue. मायाजवनिकाचन्नम् अज्ञादोक्षजमव्ययम् न लक्ष्यसे मूढदृशा नटो नाट्यधरो यथा. Being beyond the range of limited sense perception, you are the eternally irreproachable factor covered by the curtain of deluding energy. You are invincible by to the foolish observer, exactly as an actor dressed as a player is not recognized. Purport. So this is I will just take the prayers part again. We have some more to complete. Then I will come back to this. So we have discussed three reasons why prayers are offered. This is Sambandha Vidya Prayojana, like that also we can remember. And it says, unless we have love, it is difficult to pray sincerely. So this is in general, seldom sincere prayers is so because our heart is now close to God. Close means not closer, it is blocked from God. The sincere prayers is not possible. And at least we can pray that I am not able to pray. That prayer we can perform, which will help us. Because when we meet great Vaishnavas, even just a sincere sadhu, a kind of strength, longing, and shame will appear that I am not able to do what he is doing, that he is praying. I am not able to pray. And even though then we ask forgiveness, my dear Lord, I am not able to pray to you. Please help me. So this is what we should do. That now there is spontaneously some prayers come to us. What type of prayers come? My dear Lord, save me, help me, have mercy. And of some may also pray, destroy my enemies. But this type of prayers appear in our heart. They are spontaneous as an emotion of fear, guilt, or resentment, which are there in the conditioned souls. But they can be fervent and sincere, but they are not at prayers in a full sense. Why they are not? Because it's all requests, and I and mine continue to remain in the center. That's why it is not completely prayer. Because we are only the center of that prayer. Something should happen to me. So the prayer in our so now we have to replace with Lord. That then there is possibilities there. So true prayer can be born only in a heart that feels the constant presence of God and a connection with Him, the Sambandha. So as long as there is no such connection, we cannot pray. We have to learn to pray by trying to bring our heart in resonance with the words and prayers of great devotees, like that. Yeah, not able to stand before deities for a long time since don't know what to pray. That's why we have to by heart all these prayers, go just recite and come. Lord will at least be happy. So we have Vaishnav song Prarthana and this by Natkandas Thakur prayers, Bhaktivinoda Thakur's prayers, Sharanagati. So these books are actually very helpful when you are taking care of it. This morning, what I do is I recite prayers from Bhagavatam, and evening I do from Vaishnava songs. When we are keeping the Lords for rest and retreats, that time we do prayers from Vaishnava bhajans, and morning Bhagavatam prayers. So in that way, we are trying to do some prayers. We have to, that's why by heart. It is easy also. Actually, I forgot. I thought we will start doing. Maybe tomorrow onwards, now what we will do? We will recite all the prayers of Queen Kunti from first to last, so that you will by heart them. It will be helpful. Like the Brahma Samhita prayers and Kunti prayers and Gajendra prayers, Prahlad prayers. If you are having deities serving them, do Abhishekam, chant all the Kunti prayers, Prahlad prayers while dressing. And now once you learn them, when you are dressing and doing other services for the Lord, deities, cleaning and all, you recite prayers, you also feel very nice, very satisfied. And evening Vaishnava bhajans will be very helpful. Their prayers. Of course, I do mechanically. Nothing is there. But I am that's why I'm trying to speak on this so that it will help me one day to be more conscious. Now, as long as there is no connection, we do not pray. So first thing is true prayer can be born only in a heart that feels the constant presence of God and a connection with Him, the sambandha. That is a true prayer. Otherwise, now the prayers are self-centered only. Now, as long as there is no connection, we do not pray. But only learn to pray by trying to bring our heart in resonance with the words of prayers of great devotees. That's what we can do. We'll pray their prayers so that our heart may be come into resonance. We may one day get their feelings. Now, another important point is genuine prayer is an act of inner humility, a trust in God. And then a person transcended their pride, their own ideas of what is wrong and right. So again, I'll tell. First is it's a deep inner humility, trust in God, and where a person transcended himself, he has his pride, he has given up his own ideas of what is right and wrong. All these things should be given up. Prayer should come. And in true prayers, one person experiences helplessness and dependence on God. This is another important thing to understand. Kirtaniya Sadahara is only possible when there is Trinadapi Sunichena, Roriva Sahishna, Amanina Manadina, Kirtaniya Sadahara. So when there is humility. So only in a humble heart there is possibility of prayers. And we all actually desire independence. We discussed I and mine is actually independent mentality, and implies that we have no one to pray to. If we want to be independent means we don't have anybody to pray to. But if we are dependent, then only prayer comes. So it is so simple for us to understand whether I am depending on Lord or not. If I am depending means I am praying. If I am surrendered means I am praying. If prayers are not coming, that means I am already independent. I know what is right, what is wrong. I will do whatever I feel. That is the point. So if we relinquish our independence, then true prayers begin. Until that happens, we can pray that someday we'll learn to pray. This is what I am trying to do. We'll be able to give up our independence, and thus we gradually acquire the meaning of our existence, Abhideya, right? And we will manifest and gradually learn to trust Lord, eventually trust Him enough to stop persisting with the request for giving happiness. When we know that we are trusting Lord, when we stop asking Him, give me happiness, we can say, okay, I have complete trust on Lord now. I am never asking for happiness. Whatever He is giving, I am ready to accept. And this is very important. And Prabhupada says that devotees don't ask for this purport only, which we will get now. So in this, Prabhupada is going to write. So I'll just take few points on this before this purport, because I'm afraid. Anybody has any questions till now? Okay, we will continue. So here one important thing, Prabhupada says that devotees never ask help from imperfect living beings or demigods. And he also, they say, Krishna, Prabhupada says they only ask help from Krishna. And then he says that devotees never ask help from Krishna also. Because the Lord himself is very eager to help his devotees. So this is the devotee's highest trust in Lord. He knows, Krishna knows what is best for me. Therefore, true prayer is always to some extent a step into uh, unknown. So it is, and when we learn to put our put into our prayers the emotions and gratitude and love, prayer will change into a means. So that becomes the prayojan. The purpose of our existence is prayers only. So we hear from His Holiness Radhanand Maharaj. He says, I am a prayer. His existence is prayers. The whole life gradually becomes a prayer. And Krishna responds to the prayers of those devotees who turns to him not only when they are in distress, but remember him every moment and submit to him in all thoughts and actions. So that is true prayer. But Queen Kunti's prayer paid for whole life, she was praying only. So, and that's why she is the best teacher for us to teach how to pray and what feeling should we have that will move Krishna, and how to repeat the holy names, and especially in a beginning journey. So now we have few minutes. I will just read the purport, and then if we have time, we'll at least say one out of three types of prayer. One first type of prayer, Samprapnatmika, we'll discuss. Tomorrow we'll continue. So for the first, this purport we'll complete. Just two shlokas. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Sri Krishna affirms that less intelligent persons mistake him to be an ordinary man like us, and thus they deride him. The same is confirmed herein by Queen Kunti. The less intelligent persons are those who rebel against the authority of the Lord. Such persons are known as asuras. Asuras cannot recognize the Lord's authority. The Lord himself appear among us as Rama, Narsimha, Varaha, or in his original form as Krishna. He performs many wonderful acts which are humanly impossible. As we shall find in the 10th canto of this great literature, Lord Sri Krishna exhibits his humanly impossible activities even from the days of his lying on the lap of his mother. He killed Putana witch, although she smeared with poison just to kill the Lord. The Lord her, sucked her breast like a natural baby, and he sucked out her very life also. Similarly, he lifted the Govardhan hill, just as a boy picks up a frog's umbrella, and stood several days constantly just to give protection to the residents of Vrindavan. These are some of the superhuman activities of the Lord described in the authoritative Vedic literatures like the Puranas, Itihasas, histories, and Upanishads. He has delivered wonderful instructions in the shape of Bhagavad Gita. He also shows marvelous capacities as a hero and a householder, as a teacher and a renouncer. He is accepted as a supreme personality of Godhead by such authoritative personalities as Vyasa, Devala, Asita, Narada, Madhva, Shankara, Ramanuja, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Jiva Goswami, Vishwanath Chakravarti, Bhaktivedanta Thakur, and all other authorities of the line. He himself has declared as much in many places of the authentic literatures. And yet, there is a class of men with demoniac mentality who are always reluctant to accept the Lord as the supreme absolute truth. Is this is partially due to their poor fund of knowledge and partially due to their stubborn obstinity, obstinacy, which results from various misdeeds in the past and present. Such persons could not recognize Lord Sri Krishna even when he was present before them. Another difficulty is that those who depend more on their imperfect senses cannot realize him as a supreme Lord. Such persons are like the modern scientists. They want to know everything by their experiential knowledge. But it is not possible to know the Supreme Lord by imperfect experiential knowledge. Is described herein as adokshaja or beyond the range of experiential knowledge. All our senses are imperfect. We claim to observe everything and anything, but we must admit that we can observe things under certain material conditions only, which are also beyond our control. The Lord is beyond the observation of sense perception. When Kunti accepts this definition of the conditioned souls, especially of women class, who are less intelligent. For less intelligent men, there must be such things as temples, masks, or churches, so that they may begin to recognize the authority of the Lord and hear about Him from authorities in such holy places. For less intelligent men, this beginning of spiritual life is essential, and only foolish men delay the establishment of such places of worship, which are required to raise the standard of spiritual attributes for the masses of people. For less intelligent persons, bowing down before the authority of Lord are generally done in the temples, mass, or churches is a beneficial is as beneficial as it is for the advanced devotees to meditate upon him by active service. So of course, there are so many points in it, but we will not be able to discuss so much. I already want to share at least one point about the prayers of three types of prayers, which is very helpful because the other points from these purports and all we'll be covering in future purports because Prabhupada repeats many of the things. So instead of doing it now, we will do in the future purports about the scientist, why these people cannot understand and all. So many nice reasonings and nice explanations we have. But this prayers, no, this is important. So I wanted to cover just one point I'll take. So there is one more reason why person cannot pray is it is difficult to understand our one's level and therefore don't know what feelings we should put in our prayers at this level. So like spiritual practice can be divided into three stages. So which is before Nishta, this is Anartha Nivritti stage, and this is very beginning stage, and then there is after Nishta to Ruchi, and then there is Bhava and Preva, another section. So at the sadhaka level, we have to do this Sampratnatmika prayers. So Sampratnatmika is some means complete. Prarthana means prayers. So it's a Sampratnatmika is a sincere, fervent prayers for complete surrender, for overall, for overcoming the separation we have from God. So these prayers are for that. So it is a beginning of true bhakti, what Acharya says, because it is a prayer of heart that has realized its disconnection from God. So what is that? It is a prayer of a heart which has realized its disconnection with God. So we are different to God. Sorry, we are indifferent to God. This is a painful truth. But we have to realize in order to start really praying to Him. So And first thing is, generally at a sadhaka level, they don't much care about God. Mm, because they are interested that God serves their need. So they're constantly begging from Him something. I want this, I want this. And without realizing it, and they certainly they put their desire, and they prefer Lord over his energies, like Duryodhana did. They are not like Duryodhana, but sometimes unknowingly it happens that we give more preference to material energy than Krishna. So it was most like, if God, how can he be God if it does not helping us? God means one who is helping me. So otherwise, how is God? This is what people feel. What is God when he's not helping? This is what people feel. So even in path of bhakti also, many of them have this understanding that Lord should always help me. So the sense of why Lord is not doing this to me, and why he's not understanding my uh, problems, and why he's not accepting all these things. Now, one important understanding we should have is, now the sense of belonging to Lord does not come immediately. So, but when we associate with the devotees, then slowly we will feel that. So the sense that uh, uncertainty, it does not, there is so much uncertainty in the world and all that, is sometimes we cannot understand many things. So, but when we associate with Vaishnava, we realize that our heart is actually dead initially when we come to Krishna consciousness. That we have nothing to say to Krishna. Like Prabhuji was telling, I am standing in front of Krishna, but there is nothing to say to him. So then we began to pray for him to give us attachment to him. So this is the first point. Please try to understand what is Samprapnatika prayer means. We are praying to Krishna to give us attachment to him. So real spiritual life begins with an awareness. What is that awareness? Awareness that our heart's bifurcation. What is that bifurcation? Our disconnection with the God. We have two opposing forces that are tearing us. What is that? The soul wants to get closer to God and seeks him, strive for him, but that voice is very weak, and the flesh is very powerful, and it is demanding material pleasures. So I will repeat. The the real spiritual life begins when there is awareness of this bifurcation. So of course the Samprapnaya prayers means what? Prayer began to pray to Krishna to give attachment to him. What happens? Because when we realize, first happens is we get awareness of our bifurcation, our disconnection from God. So there are two opposing forces. One force is telling us, I know that I want to become closer to Krishna, strive for him, but that is very weak. It is a strong force which is forcing us, which is powerful, which is making us closer, means trying to fulfill the demands, pleasures of our flesh. Now, let's say Rupa Goswami says, one shloka, he says that, oh my mind, as young girl takes pleasure in thinking about a young boy, and those young boys take pleasure in thinking about young girls, let my mind take pleasure in thinking about Lord Krishna. So he is trying to relate how materialistic people, how a conditioned souls, for him so difficult. He says, okay, how he is doing, let me do it for Krishna. So when we have experience of material attachment that are holding us captive, so theoretically we understand that we should be attached to Krishna, but reality of heart is different. How we know that heart is not connected, heart is condemned? No, because in the beginning, uh, because that's actually attempts to become closer to God is not so much in the heart. So, but intelligence slowly it is accepting. Yes, this is right. So, and then we understand the difference, the bifurcation, our divisions in the mind and heart. So mind is something else, heart is something else. Now mind is telling we have to go to Krishna, but heart is not it. So it causes some pain. Arey, the pain comes out of, and that pain comes in the form of prayers. So, arey, I am not able to go to Krishna. So we feel that attraction is not so much. Naturally, there is attraction for material pleasure, not for Krishna. So attachment to Krishna, the desire to devote ourselves entirely to his service is actually not the result of our effort. With my effort, I cannot develop attachment to Krishna. That is not possible only. This is only possible by mercy of Krishna or by mercy of devotees. The desire to become closer to Krishna comes by Krishna or through his devotees. So we cannot squeeze ourselves. We cannot control. We cannot get desire without. Therefore, we need prayer. For understanding? We need prayer because we cannot get on our own. So please heal me, restore my wholeness. So I am tired of being divided like this with matter and spirit. So I am realizing I am spiritual nature, but somehow or other I am divided inside. So please, Krishna, help me. So some part of me, which is not so much part of myself, at least it's want material pleasure, only material happiness. And oh Krishna, you are all attractive, but I am not getting to attract to you. So give me opportunity to feel attraction for you. So this is actually Murti Maharani's saying. So please make my. So this is the last shloka of this is a few just 2-3 shlokas from the last. Sai me ananya vishya matir madhupate asatit ratim udbhatam udam gange yogam udatmati. Let my attachment to you uninterrupted by anything else. Like how Ganges is flowing to the ocean. It should be like that. So of the three types of prayer, the Samprapnatmika is the most important because prayers to feel attachment to Krishna and give him all ourselves. Attachment, all Samprapna, some means complete. Complete is what? Complete with our mind, with our speech, and with our body. So this is actually there is a division in us means what we speak, what we think, and what we do. All three are different. They are not in line. I think something, speak something, do something. So this is a problem. So we will end here for today. It's already 8:20. Anybody has any questions, comments? Okay. Hope you are able to understand. Thank you all very much. Srila Prabhupada. We'll meet tomorrow at 7:50. Tomorrow also there is no Prabhuji's class, so we'll do our discussion. Hare Krishna.